Assalamu alaikum, girls. Hope you are all doing well today and welcome to term 3. This term, we are starting off with some advanced Alice concepts and we will be doing a lot of practical and practice in Alice as well. So, before we start off, the main important thing to note is that you need to make sure Alice is downloaded in your computer and it is running without having any issues. The video guide on how to download Alice has been uploaded in all your class groups. This is important because all your homework will be to make some short animations in Alice and you will be required to submit the file back on Edmodo. So make sure Alice is up and running. If you have any issues regarding this, please get in touch with your teacher. Starting off the topic for today, the first topic of term 3, it is user interaction. First, let's think the animations we have made so far in Alice. We have done the Sheikh and the camel example, so many other examples till now. Can this be enough to make a game in Alice? Think for a second. We are missing some components, isn't it? If we need to make a game, we need to have some sort of interaction. The user needs to be able to click somewhere, move some objects, and add some points, and so on. Correct? So, this is what we are looking at throughout this term. As you know, we have done this before. There are two types of animations in Alice. There is a movie and interactive. Movie means that there is a passive user who is just watching the animation and he is not at all interacting with your animation. The example is the Sheikh and the camel example we've done before. The camel is moving, the Sheikh on top of the camel is moving. You, as a user watching the animation, is not doing anything to it. What's the second type of animation? Interactive. In interactive, there is an active user who is clicking on the mouse, typing a key on the keyboard, etc. All sorts of actions which make some difference in the animation that is running. So, this is like how a game would be, right? And the key thing to note here is that the actions of the users are called events. This is the important word for today. So, what is user interaction? User interaction means we are going to allow the user to interact with the program and control what information he wants to use, how the objects should move, what actions or methods should take place, and so on. And in Alice, this is done using something called events. And this is what we are going to further look at this week and next week. Why are we even having user interaction in the first place? We need to allow our user to specify what information he wants to see in Alice, right? And also we want to keep our users more engaged, more entertained, so they are happy to use the animation or program. So let's see how we can create an event in Alice. So the first thing you need to do is open Alice software on your computer. Once Alice is opened in your computer, try taking any template, for example. And here you can see it says events. We have not used this section of the window before, but this is where you will see how events are created. And as we said already, events are a way for the user to interact with the animation that is happening. Now, over here you can see there is an option called create new event. There is some event already added here which says when the world starts, do world.first method. So who is world.first method? This part of your code is called world.myFirst method. Whatever you used to write here before, it was all part of world.myFirst method. So what is this event telling the Alice to do? When the world is starting, which means when you're going to click play, what should we do? Whatever is there in world.myFirst method. So for example, if you add an object and you are going to make that object say over here, when you click play, Alice knows that the world is starting and it needs to do the world.myFirst method, which is making your object talk. Now let's go back to our slide. As you can see, we can try to create a new event, and this will control what happens over here. So first, let's try to play a ping pong game. This file is already created for you. This is supposed to be done as a team of two, but I am going to demo it to you as if two players are playing. And looking at this game, we are going to try to identify what events are used in this game. Okay, so when I'm playing this game, you need to think what events are happening here, how is the user interacting with the game. So how will you open this file? Close your Alice, open a fresh window for Alice. Once a fresh window has opened, go to open a world and choose where your file has been saved. So I know the location of my file in this example, and this will load the ping pong game for you. And if I try to press play, it says player 1 uses E and D keys to move up and down. Player 2 uses the right hand side up and down. So I'm going to act as if two people are playing. Now watch me. It says press Y to begin. I'm going to press Y on my keyboard and the game is starting. I'm trying to avoid the ball. Yes. You can see here I'm trying to play as if two players are playing. And if I do not catch the ball, my ball will be lost and the game will be over. So you can see that in this game, it was not a movie. It was not a movie that was playing on its own and me as a user had nothing to do with it. It was an interactive type of animation, which meant that me as a user, I was able to do something in the animation, move the objects, do some methods, etc. Right? Now let's close the play window and see what events are used in this example. As you can see, the event screen over here is quite full. It says when the world is starting, do world my first method, and world my first method is the method over here. Then it says while the world is running, do all of these things. When Y is typed, do this thing. When the up key is pressed, do these things. Do you remember in my game why I pressed the Y key? Exactly, to start my game. So that is what is said here. Do you remember in my game why I used the up and down arrow keys? Yes, this was the control for the second player. And do you remember why I used E and D keyboard keys on my game? Yes, for controlling the controls of the first player. Now let's go back and see what's the task for today. Our task for today is to create an event, a keyboard event, which will make a bird fly. So what all do we need on this animation? We need a world, we need one bird and one tree. We are going to make an event where the bird will fly forward when any key is pressed. Let's try this out. I'm going to close my ping pong game. I will start a new Alice software. Choose the sand template. Click on open. Add your two objects, which is the bird and the tree in this example. I'm going to animals, trying to add a bird. Once the bird is added, I'm going to turn the bird to make it face the other direction so that it can easily move to the tree. I want to move it a bit up so it looks like it's flying. And I also need a tree, so I'm trying to find a tree. I'm going to put a tree in here, but the tree is too big for me, so I will resize and make it a bit smaller. And I want to move it a bit to the right. Sorry. All right. Now the animation I want is that when a key is pressed, any key, the bird will move towards the tree. All right. So let's see if we have any other instructions. We are going to create the world. We've already done this. We are going to make the bird fly forward when any key is pressed. All right. As of now, what is the event we have by default in this animation? It says when the world is starting, do world.myFirstMethod. And is there anything in world.myFirstMethod at the moment? No, it's blank. So first, let's try to create an event which is based on pressing something on the keyboard. Press on create new event when a key is typed. As you can see, certain things will happen when the key is pressed. So press on it. Delete this first event that you already had over here. Right click, delete. And which key do we want pressed? This is up to you. For example, I am going to use the right arrow key. And what do we need to do? World.myFirstMethod. So I'm going to choose my first method over here. And inside the method, what should I make happen when the key is pressed? Yes, you're right. Moving the bird towards the tree. So I'm going to add my method for that. Bird move forward maybe a meter. Yes. Now let's try what our animation looks like. When you run the animation, right now no method is running, nothing is happening. Why? Because Alice is waiting for you to press the key to make it happen, because this is user interaction. Let me press the right key. You can see that the bird flew away. Now, what will happen if I pressed another key and not the right key? Let me try to press the left key, for example. I'm pressing it now. As you can see, nothing is happening. Why? Because in your event you have specified that only when the right key is pressed do the world.myFirstMethod, which is the bird moving forward. Yes? So Alice is always waiting for you as a user to press the right button. Now, I hope this is clear for you. Your task for today is to do this exact same animation in Alice and submit the Alice file on Edmodo. Create a world with a bird and a tree. Make an event. When any key is pressed, the bird will fly forward. You can choose which key this should be, or it can be left that it can be any key. As an extension, if you want to go the extra mile, you can make the animation more interesting with other events and adding other keys to make the bird move in different directions. Alright. As a plenary for the lesson, I want you to pick one of the post-it notes here and think for 10 seconds what the answer should be. Come on. Alright, girls. If your choosing of the post-it note was the first one to name two events in Alice, the answer is that any two events in Alice, one can be when the world starts and one is when a key is pressed. An answer for how to make an event in Alice, the second post-it note, is to create a new event, select an event, and we were going to edit it, right? This is what we did today. If you chose the third post-it note, what are the two types of animations in Alice? The first animation is movie and the second one is interactive. Alright, girls. See you with your Edmodo assignments of task 2 soon, and best of luck.